Talking about Turkey Day travel this morning. More and more Americans, they're heading out to the airport this morning, getting ready to travel for that Thanksgiving meal. And the airport says they're expecting thousands of travelers this week. Starting today, we want to talk about what's happening with the impacts of those storms. We've got Steve Smith here, the Director of Communications from Albany International. Thanks for joining us, Steve.
Good morning. It's great to be here.
So when we're talking about the sheer numbers of people that are going to be traveling, how many are we going to be seeing at the Albany International Airport today?
Yeah, every day we're trying to estimate how many passengers are going to be coming through the airport, and right now we're looking at about 5,000 passengers coming through Albany International Airport just today. And you have to keep in mind, those are people just leaving the airport. So you can anticipate another 5,000 coming into the airport from destinations all across the world. So the airport's going to be a very busy place today. We encourage people to get there early, especially if they're traveling out.
When you're talking about early, how early are you thinking that people should? Because usually you think an hour or so.
Yeah, there's this idea that you can get to Albany Airport because it's a smaller airport about an hour early and still make your flight. And we've seen people over the last few days miss their flights because they're just not giving themselves enough time. So we encourage people to get to the airport no less than 2 hours before their scheduled departure. That's going to give them ample time to check baggage if need be, to get through the TSA checkpoint, and to get to their gate. We don't want anybody missing their flights, especially on the Thanksgiving holidays. We want them to be enjoying time with their families.
And we know there was a lot of anticipation about last night's little bit of wintry weather that we had, and we're still seeing a bit of it, as Jill's been mentioning, throughout the morning. So I do want to pull up the delays and cancellations for today and just see how we're looking at Albany International. Maybe Steve can walk us through what we're seeing so far right now when it comes to the screens there. Do we have our boards by any chance, guys? So how are we doing when it comes to those cancellations and delays, Steve?
Last night there were a few flights that were delayed coming in just because of the winter weather mix that we had, but we did get everybody in. I think the last flight landed around 2 o'clock this morning, but we got people here, and this morning it's been great. The temperatures are a little bit warmer, and we're seeing a few delays just because of de-icing, just getting some of the stuff off the planes, but planes are taking off, and people are getting to where they need to be.
It looks like on the board here we're seeing mostly on time. So again, what should people do before they head to the airport when they're heading to their flight and making sure they aren't going to be delayed?
Yeah, the first thing they can do is check in online or check in with their airline's app. Make sure they're checking with their airline to make sure there are no delays or cancellations. They should go to TSA.gov, find out what items are prohibited. We have had that'll just slow you down in TSA.
Sure.
If you have items in your bag that you're not supposed to have. But the biggest thing is to get there early. Give yourself plenty of time to get through the TSA checkpoint. And if you get through there early and you have time, then enjoy some of the amenities that the Albany Airport has to offer. Grab a cup of coffee, grab something to eat. But we just want people to get to their families and get to that gate and get on their flight.
Before we go to break, Steve, I want to mention there is one thing that's shut down right now. I know you guys are doing a ton of renovations. What should people look out for when it comes to parking?
There's a very exciting project taking place at the airport right now. We're expanding the terminal, but there are going to be some inconveniences associated with that. So right in front of the terminal, we're reduced to 2 lanes of traffic. So if you're picking up or dropping off passengers, you need to do so quickly to avoid any traffic delays in front of the terminal. You can park in short-term parking, or you can use the cell phone observation lot if you're picking up or dropping off passengers. The other thing is that the pedestrian bridge from the north garage is now closed due to construction. So just give yourself a little bit extra time if you're going to be parking in that garage, because you'll have to access the terminal from the first floor.
Early, early, early. That's the key word here, Steve.
That's the key message. Just give yourself plenty of time.
Perfect. Happy Thanksgiving, Steve. Thank you so much for breaking things down for us.
Thank you. You too.
It's 6:21 right now. We're going to be right back with more news.